I love whiteboards. I always enjoyed using them, kind of like taking the bigger perspective. Most of even the digital notes I have about my research have like a photo of a whiteboard that I shot, like where I thought something out on a whiteboard and I just like slam it into my notes. I absolutely love working with whiteboards. My supervisor is the same. So we more or less battle everything out in front of whiteboards. We basically just never talk methodology without a whiteboard in front of us. And building on this shared love for whiteboards, she sent me a blog post recently, and it's an absolutely amazing blog post. I will link it in the description. I highly recommend you read it, but it inspired me to kind of share some of my experiences about the magic of the whiteboard. So more or less, if you go into any university, you will have whiteboards laying around. The blackboard, the old school chalk blackboard, it's kind of a specificity for math and physics institutes, but that is kind of where I socialize into the academic climate, so they have a special place in my heart. But a lot of people think that these are for teaching, for lecturing. And while they do have a place, right, if you want to teach someone something and like have some notes on a whiteboard, it helps a lot to kind of make sure that students can revisit what you were talking about and to just like make illustrations. I also think that the whiteboard is kind of the best place to get unstuck. So, research is a roller coaster, so you basically inevitably are gonna get stuck on whatever it is that you're working on. And the usual workflow involves like trying to grapple with it in like a small screen, either, like a laptop or an A4 sheet of paper, or maybe like a big monitor in front of you. But at a certain point, it's just gonna get too big for the small screen, right? The obstacle is just gonna outgrow the screen. And these are the moments when kind of like a literal change in perspective can help you a lot. So number one is just like you will just get up and get your blood flowing a little bit, right? No one like can sit in front of a whiteboard, like work with a whiteboard like this. No, you have to get up, you have to start moving. And like there's a research about like your brain getting more involved when you move around and stand up. A great tip for brainstorming: if you ever need to brainstorm, just do it standing up. Much better. But the other thing is that a whiteboard kind of forces you to rubber ducky yourself, right? So in programming, there's this term called rubber ducky debugging, which is the moment when you take like I don't have a rubber ducky, unfortunately. So in programming, there's this term called rubber ducky debugging, which is the point when you take a rubber ducky and then you explain your entire code line by line to the rubber ducky. And usually this process is enough to figure out where it goes wrong. So you don't need to kind of, talk to a colleague or anything. You can just do the first pass with the rubber ducky. Yeah, I took it off the wall just for this. I hope you liked it. And while this rubber ducky style debugging, just writing something up on a whiteboard often is enough to get you unstuck, whiteboards are still at heart for sharing ideas. And the blog post that I linked in the description, you really, really should read it. It uses the term "a stage for stand-up theorists" to describe whiteboards. And I just find it so poetic and so amazing. And I just relate so much to this idea, right? That whiteboards are inherently for sharing. And then what my supervisor and I most often do is that we just grab two different colored markers. And then, one of us is blue, the other is red, and then we can just like start, working with each other's ideas, and you can clearly trace where it came from, how it evolves, where the two meet. It's just such a magical experience, and it just immediately kicks you into this like strange flow state. It's truly, truly amazing. And as I mentioned, I come from a mathematics institute, right? So I have a very special love for blackboards, or more specifically the green boards, the specific green color with the white chalk on it. And in the blog post, they also kind of interview someone who says that they enjoy chalkboards more than whiteboards, because even if you use an eraser, a trace of what you erased remains, which kind of serves as a visual reminder of kind of the things that didn't work as you're trying to weave your way through the problem. And I feel like that again is very poetic, right? It just highlights this self-dialectical nature of of science, right? When you're trying to figure something out, and it's always gonna have a special place in my heart. So yeah, I already talked with the girlfriend that the moment we have a bigger apartment, immediately first thing I get is a big whiteboard to work in. It's gonna be great. Or maybe I'll just paint a chunk of the wall with this like chalk paint, you know, like you can just paint a chalkboard onto your wall. That'd be amazing. All right, that's it for today. Thank you very much. Leave a comment if you like whiteboards, or leave a comment if you don't like whiteboards, and read the article. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.